Welcome, welcome, everybody. Thank you again for joining us for this how-to session. Um, for those new to the forum, it's an open space where we can all ask questions of any level. We basically organize the exchange by show of hand. You raise the hand, I bring you in, you ask your question so that we can all share in the knowledge gain. I also have Robert. We have Robert in the chat assisting for the answers. So if you have any questions, that you do not want to voice openly, you can ask in the chat, and Robert will assist with that. If need be, he will convey it and we will discuss on it. For the recap of what we are doing, I'm going to put a few links in the chat. So everything I do, I basically share on these platform. Take a look at it so you can go over what is discussed. So we will start with questions, if any. You can use the chat or raise their hand for that. If you don't have any question, as I usually do, I will introduce a case study. And as we progress through the conversation, you will also be able to ask your question. Fine with everybody? No questions in the chat, Robert? Okay, so let's
Not yet.
fire away. I'm sure there's going to be some. There's always some question. It's the pleasure of this. Now, for those who were not here yesterday and were expecting to be able to go over the recap, I have to apologize. I forgot to press record, so we don't have it. Instead, what I'll be doing is offering an overview of what we've done so far. I think through the few months that we have been together, we actually have gone over all the tools, including the add-ons, and I think that I'm going to turn that into a case study. However, it's going to come after what I offered. Yesterday, the big takeaway was me introducing, I think, this course platform that is now part of our library link. For those following this process, I made already the course content or the course documents available. I plan on having videos by videos for each one of the lessons. That's going to take me a little bit of time. And once that is complete, I will include that as part of the wrap up. Okay, so I invite you to take a look at the course library. It's a little bit more in depth from the free content that I offer in the content section, and take a look recurrently, I would say, in the team section. I'm going to try to make some updates on the weekly basis, find something to add in the content section or in the course. For now, you have access to the course library and also a brief of each sections. Good for everybody so far?
Awesome.
Perfect, perfect. So now for today, we spoke a lot about marketing the past weeks and emailing, and the big takeaway was asset preparation. What I want or what I had in mind to do is go back a little bit to the nav, especially whereas the conversation process is. I had a few meetings where the topic of conversation was, well, nav is always laying forward the same process seemingly, right? And some people had questions about that. And what I wanted to uh, do today is a case study with you. I want to share something, and that would allow us also to go over our sales flow approach and see how it actually applies in the real world. Okay. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share. I invited my phone as a participant, and I'm going to share a conversation that took place between me and Well, I was solicited for business, right? So I am being prospected upon. It's happening on my. Let me share this first, so I can keep the flow and show you. So it's happening on my business profile, WhatsApp business profile. Depending on where you are in the world, WhatsApp is a great business tool. You'll be able to take a look at the setting or the setup that I created for that environment. And as you can see, there is business happening on WhatsApp. I have exchanged with Robert as well. But here, I have this gentleman that contacted me and I want to share with you the approach, right? Since the approach is that of a network marketer, he's approaching me to offer his services. And I want to compare what he's doing versus what we are offering uh, to follow as the sales flow process. And I'm going to be stopping at time and asking your input on that approach or that conversation or what you would do next or what do you feel is happening. Good for everybody?
Sounds like fun to me.
Perfect. I expect to have some hands, some reactions, some shares, some comments, whatever you feel. There's no right or wrong answer. It's an open case study. So this is a gentleman, a freelancer. I don't know him. He does really have a nice presentation, I would say, if I click on his profile. So here, clean cut. Okay, good. Uh, Now, he starts out very simply. Hello, now site ambassador. So he calls me by my title, not my name. Hello, how are you? My name is Artur. I'm a professional freelancer and a digital marketing expert. So a peer-to-peer conversation. Uh, would you have some time to talk to me about growing your YouTube channel? Okay, so there is definitely an opportunity in the YouTube space, and he's trying to offer service for that. And as you can see, he goes into the offer of his description. There's a repeat here, if you noticed, right? So he goes into the offer of his description. It's heavy in keywords, right? And very long. Okay. So far, um, what is your take on that? If anybody has a comment on his approach and what you feel was done right, wrong, and how you would react before I continue. Go ahead, Robert.
Well, first off, he didn't wait for you to even respond before he did what we call verbal diarrhea and threw up all over you and already
Mm,
tried to give you his offer. 9 out of 10 times, I would try to turn that into a learning experience for that person.
exactly. Arba?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Robert said. And it's just way too long for a first meeting, a first
First
contact.
conversation.
It's way too long for
Mhm.
a first contact.
Definitely. And you see, you can look at the span of time between each messages, right? Hardly a minute before he basically goes after the cell. Uh, if we're looking at our flow process, he broke a lot of rules. He didn't he didn't make a proper connection. He did reach out, which is great, but didn't try to connect, didn't try to build a rapport, went directly into a presentation of his services, burned a few steps. Now, there could be something that he's doing, right? Because if I play devil, oh, Robert, go ahead.
There's a question from William. He said, "Does he provide a video as part of the communication?" Looks like
No,
there's some kind of video there.
that's my video. actually,
Okay.
right? So there's something, and this is what I was about to say. I'm going to play devil advocate. Okay. Uh, I am a brand ambassador, client experience manager. At least this is how I presented myself on this profile. And this is how I lead these conversations. So coming back to my profile, I would assume that he thinks that I'm very straightforward, right? So he went straight for the conversation, which is not a bad thing, right? You are an experienced marketer. I am an experienced marketer. You are busy. I don't want to waste your time. I'm going to go directly for the sell. I did do some client discovery, right? Because he went and did some research or scouted me out. Respect to that. He gave me that video. And this is why maybe he went in this long drafted presentation, which in all case, we all agree is a little bit too long. Go ahead, Tina.
Well, I agree, of course, with Robert and all of you, Arba and
Mhm.
such. But if it were me, there was no personal connection first. They went right into the cell, and I mean, I want to build a relationship before I get with someone. And not that I'm anyone special, we're all special, but I get hit up too a lot for people,
Uh-huh.
their product. And there's no emotion there for me. There's no feeling of even trying to build. So I think it would have been nicer if he could have introduced himself and tried to make a connection with you, have a little coffee Zoom chat with you, and tell him his purpose a little bit and shorter.
Shorter. Absolutely. Shorter, and the connection we all agree was missed. Let's put it this way. He was direct. And coming back to me playing the devil advocate, he could have made all that in one message. First thing I would correct here, go ahead, Arba, before I continue.
Now, I was just gonna say, you have to consider your platform because we're all saying it's long, which I think it's long too, but it's because it's a text message, kind of thing. It's on WhatsApp, but I
Mhm.
bet you if you took the same content and put it in an email, it would look short, you know.
Absolutely.
So that's the thing. If he's going to use the approach of a WhatsApp or email or text, then you should consider that and look at the length that it does look long.
Absolutely. Great point. And you notice our tool, when you are using it to exchange on social media, will adapt the lengths of the message depending on where you're going, right? So, yes, he should have been mindful of the tool that he's using, right, in his presentation. So definitely the length of this conversation, we all agree, is something to be careful. The connection as well, right? Even if, for example, we wanted to be very direct, again, playing the devil advocate as I was, then we should have made that connection. Hello, Virgil. I see that you are an outside ambassador. Very impressive. I took the time to look at your profile, and as an expert, I would want to show you what I'm capable of doing, or my opinion, or what services you could benefit from. That opening statement would have changed the connection and the building the rapport, right? Just adding an extra line here. So be careful about that. Very important. Connecting is the most important part of our activity as network marketer. It's that first impression, love at first sight. So we want to keep in mind, even if we're going to be direct, you would like to know how he found my WhatsApp funnel, right? On my, and this is, should be the same thing across all of our marketing assets or social, sorry, I should say, across all our social media assets, in our bios, in our abouts, we should have all our links. And I have put my WhatsApp business link across all these now site pages. right? So he did his homework, and that we have to give it to him. He did his homework, which piqued my interest. My interest, to be honest, was piqued at the beginning when he was a freelancer. Why? Because instead of reacting as, well, somebody's soliciting for business, I'm like, okay, there's a prospect. Because when I go out looking for a prospect, remember my criteria. I want a solopreneur, somebody, a team of one, somebody that is out there looking for business opportunity, somebody that has an interest in my industry, right? So when I see this, this is how I look at it. And this is where I start looking at their approach. Go ahead, Vicky.
To me, that's a great question because I would want to know how someone found me, first of all, especially on WhatsApp. You, I know that you're saying you've got everything, but that would have been my first question. How did you find me? Because,
Okay.
and apparently you said you did some research on them
He
because
did some research on me.
people find me on WhatsApp and I have no clue. So they automatic, I don't even read what they say. They
Mhm.
automatically go on block because I didn't request you to come on my page.
Absolutely.
Looking for you, nor do I have a business page.
Absolutely. And these are good points. But again, you uh, left it where it is and should be. First thing first, this is a business account, right? And one of the things about being a network marketer is that you're looking to be contacted. You're going out there to put your information to be contacted. So, yes, it would be different if he had reached me on my personal number for business. I wouldn't have answered, I would have blocked. But in this case, he came to my office, right? As it is, we are always open for business on social media, depending on the channel that we choose to start our acquisition process, right? And this is why I said this was a great question because I have made all the social media outlet that I decided to use for NowSite as the opening gate for my funnels. This is the funnel strategy. Beyond the marketing asset that we call capture and landing, the funnel strategy expands to all these social media presence. This is why we ask you to create those because each time you're promoting your social media links there, each time you're promoting your business asset, you're inviting people to contact you, right? So, yes, you contact me on my personal line, we have an issue. This is also why, often enough, when it comes down to SMS marketing, I make that difference. Be careful. I receive a social media, I'm expecting to receive that. I receive a personal SMS. Who are you? How did you get my number? Right? So, again, I'm balancing the conversation. I'm playing advocate for the devil. Why? Because this is what we are doing to build and expand on our mind frame, our sales psychology, right? Because again, if we're looking at the criterias, this for me is somebody that I would be looking for, a solopreneur looking for opportunities, ready to business, and in the field of interest that I am, right? So we all agree on a lot. Oh, I have a new message from him that I haven't read. Oh, we're going to discover what it is together. So, following this, this is, of course, what I've done. In line with what Robert put forward, hey, let's try to turn the conversation. Let's see where this goes. So I say, okay, sorry for the delay in answering. Thank you for your interest in my channel, right? Because in the end, whether it was a sales approach or a true discovery, he did look to my channel. He did send me something suggesting that he did study, and his in depth conversation, since he's leveling with what is an expert, he's trying to demonstrate expertise, right? So, beyond his lack of approach, I'm going to say, okay, you have me interested. Let's talk. You seem to be knowledgeable. You absolutely a shorter answer. We all agree on that. A shorter answer should have been required here. Even if you're gonna power sell me, PowerPoint your offer. Okay. So interest, intention, call to action in the conversation, and this was long. It went into a demonstration too early. And this is what basically I put forward. I said, well, sorry, this is a rough start, explaining that my channel is just at the beginning, and I was thinking about these SEOs and more at a later stage, right? So I address him on his keywords in a short form answer, okay? And then I start the connection, right? What do you think about our tools as a marketer and a tech guy yourself, right? If you took the time to look at my information, then I'm going to acknowledge the conversation, and I'm going to ask you to see if you went deeper. Because if you're offering me service, you're offering me to promote the product that I offer or the conversation that I offer. It means that you went a little bit deeper to understand what my product is and who it's aimed at. All agreed, right? So notice the reaction. And this is important, right? So I say sorry for the delay and the interest. He does acknowledge that statement, right? And then what does he do? I hope you are going well, sir, right? And we go again into a spiel, another cell, okay, which is programmatic. So now I continue, okay, well, what do you think? Making him understand that I am interested in understanding more about what you think about my product if you're going to become or have me pay you service to represent it or help me promote it. Yes, from the looks of it, right? He may be using automation. There might be a language barrier that is making him copy and paste. In all case scenario, he's not making the connection genuine, right? And it keeps on doing that, right? So I ask him, well, I assume the article will reflect the content you saw, okay? And I like your offer. I will decide and let you know if and when I would decide, well, whatever I'm saying, well, look, you're pushing a little bit too much. I like what you're saying. Take the time to build a rapport with me, right? At this point, if you were in your seat looking at the cell flow, what would you do? Or what's your take on what is happening here? Any comment, any share?
I
No?
just,
Well, go
oh,
ahead.
Go ahead.
I should have raised my hand. I'm sorry. No, I was just saying you got a lot more tolerance than I do. As soon as I would have saw that it just looked like it was automation or copy paste, I would have just blocked them. I don't have time for that.
Well, like it is possible that well, benefit of the doubt. Again, at this point, I'm no longer necessarily looking at it as a valuable option, or at least at this point, I'm not looking at a valuable business option offer. Like I said, until now. So there is a change here. The story unfolds. But yes, I'm trying to understand, is it a person or not? It's obviously not just automation. The reason why is that automation wouldn't have necessarily taken the time to acknowledge me each time, right? Because I did acknowledge what it says, right? So this is a human hand. My take on this is that this person is maybe using a translator and picking and choosing what it can answer in short form. But again, we're not sure because the most important part has not been done, the human connection, right? So he goes here, for example, I ask him. So you can see that in his answering. Oh, sorry, Breezy. Go ahead and your question.
No, all I was going to say was that that's coming across as if that's all him. It's a big him and a little you.
Exactly. Big mistake. Like we covered in our past conversation, business is about connection. It's okay if you stand me up for a meeting as long as we stay connected. We cherish the relationship that we're building first. And obviously, this person is not building relationship with me, trying to sell, right? You're about business. Okay. So he basically, at this point, again, goes into his conversation. I think, uh, well, first, he goes into a cell here, and I re-insist on, hey, I'm asking you, what are you thinking? Right? I assume that if you're going to write an article, it's going to reflect because his whole conversation is about optimizing my video presence for greater engagement and conversion to my channel by rewriting my comments, right? So if you're going to do so, I expect that you will be able to use or to address my tool properly and know my customer base. Go ahead, Robert.
Well, so ultimately, to break it down for everybody, what we're talking about is posture, right? You know, in essence, that's what it is. So we were having a side chat with Tina in the chat there, and she was asking, "Do you think that it's a bad thing to ask for a Zoom on the first kiss or first attempt?" I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and something that we could have done in that situation is to say, "Hey, let's jump on a Zoom and let's talk about it."
Absolutely. I could have done that. And again, you know what? Coming back to the first message, he could have done that. Hey, I see that you're actively on Zoom doing webinars. When are you free? I would gladly meet with you. Or if you're free now, I would gladly jump on a Zoom with me, meeting you on my terms, right? Willing to make that face-to-face connection. That direct message and offer to meet would have brought in more credibility and say, okay, well, you're brush, but you're really to make face-to-face. I can value that. Let's take a look at it. Okay. Go ahead, Keisha.
Yeah, so what I did, this happened about 2 days ago. A lady came and did the same thing. She just kind of, nice to meet your acquaintance, and then blah. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, you know, you missed the part where we were supposed to try to connect. But the good thing is you spoke to the right person. So now I can help you make those connections. How would you like to have a conversation about how we could do that? And that's how I switched the conversation back on her, because
Exactly.
I literally can't stand when people just blah at me. I was like, who are you talking to?
Absolutely. Right. The connection is so important. Beyond the cell, it's that. Okay. And it's an opportunity as well, because remember one thing, again, when we are experience something and we are aware of what is happening, it means that we're in a leader space and there's an opportunity. All these answers that you're giving me, this is how I would have reacting. This is you taking on the leader in the space. If you're looking at it that way, you could also look at it as, hey, I'm an angry customer. You talk to me this way. I'm not going to react, right? This is why I also said we have to balance basically a little bit of that energy. And we never know because in the end, also, I guess when we're going out there, and this is where my stance is, when I'm going out there, I'm always asking for the benefit of the doubt and I could make errors, right? I haven't scolded him yet. Maybe that's going to be the next step in the conversation. I'll show you how it progressed. But there's one thing I did ask him. Okay, since you were insisting on doing business, right? Let me meet you on your terms and see, right? Because if you want to talk business, and I am business, I'm not going to shy away from the conversation. You seem to be knowing what you're doing, even if you're using AI to create your conversation. Okay, we are doing that. I'll give you that piece or that benefit of doubt. But what will you do next, right? And this is where I ask them, right? Okay, well, I like your offer, right? Because you're talking about doing all this for me and such. I like your offer. What is your cost? Let me know. I'll decide or whatever. Again, telling him, hey, I'm not ready to do business, right? Now I want to see the strength of the offer. For you pushing that much your content on me, I want to see what you're going to be doing, right? And so far, okay, he's telling me, if I understood correctly, that he's going to do some pre work so I can see the quality of his work free before I decide to engage in the payment. He gave me his rate, and this is where I stopped, right? And this is where he came, and same day, very pushy, not acknowledging anything, right? So now I'm lesser and less interested. If I wanted to do business with you, if I was going to do business with you, you'd have to change your approach, right? And now I'm less interested in getting to know you because you're obviously not trying to get to know me, right? So very important. Go ahead, Robert.
I just want to point out because it made me laugh. Verbiage is everything, right?
Mm.
When I see this offer, it all looked really good until he says that top line. What? Go back to where you were. It says, then you will see growing your videos good. Oh, you moved it. Stop moving.
No, sorry, it was a delay.
And then you will see growing your videos day to day, and you will see good results on your channel. I don't want just good results, man. If I'm paying you money, I want great results. Verbiage is
Exactly.
everything, man. Verbiage is everything.
Exactly. Verbiage is everything, and the approach is really the vehicle of that. So he's going a little bit too hard on the paint. Let's be mindful of how we engage. Okay, even if he is talking to somebody that, as we say, is a peer in in his same field, even if he's going for business, there's a human factor in it that we should never forget. Okay. This goes into everything. How we are writing our conversation on our marketing assets, how we are writing these conversation or deciding of our approach via email. Sometimes I feel like we tend to treat our email list like numbers. People are numbers, people are numbers, people are numbers, people are numbers. And we're trying to go through these numbers as quick as we can to get the result that we want as quick as we can. Let's not make the same mistake as our freelancer here. This activity is to benefit us, yes, but it's about the consumers. It's about the relationship that we want to build. And you can see that every step of the way I was asking, well, okay, I acknowledge your expertise, but are you acknowledging me, right? I asked you specific question, not just he was taking the time to answer all the business questions, but the rest, no. Never make that mistake. And this is the value of our sales flow, going back to what we offer. A step by step approach, right? So, yes, if you want to, you can try reinventing the wheel. At times, you will have to adapt the process depending on who you are talking to, the director type or the any other type. Okay, but always consider we're talking to a person, the who, right? And again, keeping that value also when you are writing your business profile in mind. These individuals are people. Who are these people and how would I approach them? Go ahead, Arba.
Also, what I have found is that when you ask more questions of your prospect to hear what they're struggling with or what they're looking for, then that actually can create opportunity for you that even if you miss out on that one, even if for some reason you screw up and you know you messed up and you lost that one, then you can change your approach or change or add something into when you're prospecting the next person. That's what I've learned that
Absolutely. Whenever you're out there, and again, it comes down to that law of numbers for network marketers. You have to connect the largest amount of people. And sometimes we tell you, and this was the old teaching, and it's still valid. And I think I said it here, don't count, go out there, don't count your yes, count your no's. The idea behind that is understanding each time I get a no, what led me to this no, and making sure that I correct it. And when you're actually counting your no's, you're counting the correction that you're making in your process, right? If every time I ask this specific question to a client, they react in a negative way and it closes the conversation, then I will not do that going forward. And you adjust basically the process of inquiring, building the connection, and so on. Go ahead, Breezy.
Yes. Sometimes in your initial meetings
Mm-hmm.
with the person, conversations with the person, they'll ask you, well, where, may I ask, are you from?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so then when you answer that question properly, but you end your answer with, oh, well, I'm from so and so and so and so. How about yourself as a response? Okay, so now when you give that kind of response to see what their answer is, where they're from, so on and so forth, a lot of times those same people they'll skip right over that, you see, and get right back into their topic, and they hadn't even told you where they're from. And so when I run across that, hey, to first red flag, because they didn't pay attention to, it was all about them, as I said a little while ago, that they didn't pay attention to your response because they're so eager to get to that meat and potatoes of what they're trying to do. Now, if something else comes up and you ask a follow-up question and they skip right over it, oh, that's it. See, it's not a 3 strike, you're out. It's a 2 strike for me. Because once that second strike came and they didn't, sorry, out of here.
Absolutely. And this we share in that feeling and in that reaction, right? Because it's really that. It comes back to that basic conversation or dynamics that I refer to on social media. It's back into high school or school. You like me, I like you, right? If you show interest in me, I show interest back to you. If you don't, it becomes a one-sided relationship. And nobody likes that, right? So if I'm soliciting you for a venture into the future, meaning we're going to travel along road together, because remember, this person or most people that are doing that have failed to understand the bigger picture: acquisition, conversion, retention. This is how we grow a business. This is how we survive long term. They are only focused on two things, or one: conversion, conversion, conversion. Right? So whatever you say, I got to close this deal. Whatever you say, I got to close this deal. Not understanding that if the goal is to work with you long term, then closing the deal is consolidating the connection. And through that connection, long term, more opportunities will come. Like we said, sometimes we come in offering this, and well, maybe it doesn't pan out to be, but it can become more, right? For example, let's put it this way: big challenge out to our freelancers. If he's looking at these videos and he's offering to promote content, we have showcased him in this. If he turns up results, oh wow. If he promotes his own videos where he's showcased and turns up results, wow, right? But he would have in mind to make sure that he wants to turn that sales conversation into a long-term business relationship. Let's always consider what we're doing, building a long-term business relationship. So we shouldn't burn our bridge to our approach or our conversation. Right? So this is where I wanted to reinforce that for those who have in mind sometimes to think that this is just a mechanic and it's always very simple process, straightforward. It's a default setting. No, it's the truth of the market. It's the truth of human relationship, right? Even if I just wanted to be your friend, well, it would work the same way. We would have to connect. We would have to build a rapport, right? I would really have to present you, open to you who I am, the rest of my friends and such. We would follow up with a few conversation or meetings. And then at one point we would say, you know what? Yes, you are part of my inner circle or my circle. Even for friends, we follow the same process. Even more so should it be for business. Respect the audience. Always have in mind the audience that you are talking to or approaching as people. This is what you want to aim for, the relationship. And again, this connection might bring another bigger connection. This opportunity that is not closed might actually open doors to bigger and greater opportunity. Make sense? Everybody share, right? So keep in mind that process when you're getting, and again, it brings us back to the nav and what I recommended. If I'm going to screen capture you, I need to make sure that I'm going to like you, follow you, start commenting on your post, right? Started creating that connection, raising a self awareness, and then reaching out gradually, right? If I see that you are a business person, I might meet you on those terms, a fast track connection, but still acknowledging. Remember one of the structure that I use for my connection message when I even want to be direct. Hey, I saw your profile on LinkedIn. Same thing as this gentleman said. Discover me on YouTube. This is who I am. I really like what you're doing. Right? This is what I do. Here's a link. Check it out. Right? Even this, which is a very straightforward offer, because I am saying, hey, I do business just like you, and here's my link, click on it. Even that, which is pretty straightforward, still starts with that connection. I saw you there answering your question, the question that we had there, Vicky. Okay, where did you find me? Well, I found you there. Wow, I love what you're doing there. This is what I do. I think we should connect. Here's my link. Take a look at it. You don't need to book. It's my digital card. But as we've discussed prior, the power of the business card, it can say what we don't have to say. Right? For example, this gentleman would have said, "Hey, hi, Virgil, sir, brand ambassador. I saw your channel. I think I could help grow your presence, generating more results, more conversion. Here's my link. Here's a few work. Take a look at it. Let me know what you think." Right? I would have been curious. You discovered me. Who are you? Let me go discover who you are in return. Right? And this is where he would have been making the sell. Because I would have went there and started digging for information. But wow, okay. Well, I want these results. Go ahead, Reezy.
Well, even as little as he sent you a screenshot.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm saying is as little as a complimentary entry on that particular page complimenting you, that alone would have piqued your interest to say, oh, well, here's somebody that likes what I'm doing, or is, hey, let me follow up on this to open this channel of communication a little bit more. But the brashness of sending you the screenshot and nothing more to help your page, that's an indicator that can be perceived as an indicator right there.
Exactly. Well, it's all he lined up a bunch of red flags from the beginning, right? Uh, Once, for example, the message was draft. We all saw the message, and I think we all had the same reaction. Wow, it's going to take a long time to read this. Go ahead, Robert.
I just want to kind of put my 2 cents in here, if I
Hmm.
may.
Go
I
ahead, please.
trust that everybody will appreciate what I'm getting at. As somebody that's done over 20 years of direct marketing door to door and been responsible for millions of dollars in the energy sector, I have to tell you so that everybody understands doing business online is not the same thing as doing business door to door. It's a completely different animal, just like it's not the same thing as doing telemarketing, right? So when you go in and what we're really looking at is his perception is almost as if he's going door to door, but he's in a different environment. So it has to be treated differently. So, I said that to say this. There's many times that I've gone and I've had people approach me in such a manner, take it and use it as a training type situation and have had those people join me in my business. Some people call it reverse marketing. I just call it being smarter than the other person on the other line.
It's absolutely that. It's the upsell. You come to sell me. If my offer is better than yours, I will sell you. Right? That is it. How well you know your offer, you can present it, you can defend it in the conversation makes a difference in what we are doing. And when you're comfortable with that, you don't even need to rush. And you welcome every question, not select the question that you want to answer to. Go ahead, Keisha. Oh, raise your hand by air. Yeah. So
No,
yeah, go ahead.
to Robert, that actually works with telemarketers and bill collectors too. Switch that conversation. It's like, if you have the guts to do this, I have a much better way for you to work this out.
Exactly. This is also, it's something that is funny, but it's something that is true. We are looking for the potential in everybody, right? If they're willing and looking to grow, which is what we want, professional and personal. Because, for example, at one point, if it continues, actually, I'm going to try that and I'll see what's the outcome. I'm going to say, hey, you're pushing yourselves too much. If you want my business, this is what I expect. And see if you adapt. If you come back, because there's no broken relationship. Oh, yes, sir. Really, I apologize. Bring out the human factor before we decide to talk, and I'll see what happens. Right. And this is also something, for example, for me, you, sometimes you can use these as, like you said, training examples. Let me see if I can turn this into a growing example for me. Okay, let me try to conversate this person, reverse the psychology, and bring them into the fold. Right? Like I said at the beginning, hey, this guy's a freelancer. Check. This guy is out there looking for opportunity. Check. This guy's not afraid to talk to me. Check. This guy's not talking the right way. Opportunity. Right? And from the beginning, when I said, hey, what do you think about my tool? This is me started the coaching process. Okay. You are obviously know that I'm going to talk to you because you know that I am a business person and you're coming into my business office. So I am going to ask questions. I want to know who I'm doing business with. I'm going to probe you. You don't shy away from the question as he is, especially if you're going into business. Meet the question. And you heard me say this before. Every question is a great question. It's the client or the prospect tuning in, right? So if I'm asking where you're from as a salesman, it's me making the connection. The clients know that, right? Because if the energy is about selling, they'll pick up on it right after you say, well, I come from here. Thank you. And you? Well, I want to show you this product. Okay. This product is not where you come from, sir. I ask you, right? You just told, right? So it's that. It is that. Let's be mindful. The best connection that we make, right, is the one that we build upon strong emotional bonds. That is the question. These are the relationship that last, right? This is what keeps somebody. If it's a customer, a loyal customer. If it's a friend, a loyal friend. If it's a partner, a loyal partner. It's that emotional bond that we build. And if it's a client, same way. Sometimes I've gone to places where it's not the best food, but the relationship that they've built with me as a customer makes it a pleasurable experience each time, right? And I would go back to these places. Why? Because, well, I feel great coming out. If I had a bad day, I will talk to these people. I will go buy their food and coming out like, oh, it's not just bad. I'm having great food. These people love me. They build a relationship, right? I used to work. One of the I learned this fundamental practice as a business uh, with my first job. Uh, I'm not sure. Well, we're in Canada, so I'm not sure how it applies in the U.S. Blockbuster, when we were still using tapes. Wow, technology, eh? Does anybody has a tape recorder at home anymore, or something like that, or CDs? Even CDs, DVDs. Oh my God, right? So it was my first job actually. And the first thing on the first day of training, what they told us is the one thing that we want you to do every time that door opens is to greet the customer. Every time. And they had a bell. So we were on the bell. Cling, ling, ling. Hello, sir. How are you doing? Welcome to Blockbuster. What are you looking for? Okay. And the next part of the training was that we were forced to watch movies so that if they say I'm looking for this movie, we can comment on this movie, right? People came for um, to rent movies. We were not selling, but the idea is that right, if you're gonna pick up the more tapes during my shift, the great customer relationship. So you want to spend time with these clients, right? What do you like? Are you doing this for you, just for the kids? For okay, let's try to get movies for everybody. Are you doing this for the weekend? What are you watching? Right? We actually had to spend time with the client, the discovery process, just to give them a good feeling. And before the change of technology, blockbusters were everywhere, and they had that reputation, great service at the door, right? Even years after I start working with this, I used to tell people, hey, clockwork. As soon as you walk in, everybody, hey, hello, sir, how you doing? The nearest guy will hit you with a hello, love bomb. Thank you for stepping in. What are you looking for? Right? That's first connection. It is what you should be aiming for. And this is why you will notice that it always starts very gently. Let's build a connection. Send them a message without mentioning business. If you decide to go to the next step, so be it, but know what you're doing. Know who you're speaking, right? And again, there's always a different approach. If this person is very direct, for example, business, I had a work experience where before becoming your friend, before becoming his friend, you had to be efficient at your job. I was the type of boss. If you're not efficient at your job, don't try to talk to me. Right? Very, very direct. Right? So if you're going to sell him something, come to me knowing your business. Then I'm going to say, okay, you know what? I'm interested. I like you know your subject. Let's talk. How long have you been doing this? Oh, okay. Right? Higher client will test you as well. Look at this guy. I'm testing him. Anything he would have did, I would have been testing him. Right? So know your client, adjust the sales psychology to that approach, but in a general way, being human is the first thing. Connecting, building a rapport. Before we go into any form of presentation, sales, or engagement, let's master that. The art of connection and building a rapport, the art of making friends, the art of networking. All right? Because even if we are networking and we're strictly about business, that person is a person. You do this, I do that. Great. We're going to work and talk about what we do and maybe great build more opportunities. But we're going to need to discover each other, acknowledge each other to a certain level on the personal base. I need to acknowledge the person that you are. I need to acknowledge the effort that you put into your business, into your presence, especially if I want your business. We're 5 minutes from the end. Uh, any other questions, shared global advice that we can benefit from? Go ahead, Tina.
I just would like to add, when I meet with someone, I let them know when I've seen what they're involved with, that what they do may not necessarily be for me. But if I like the relationship once I meet, I'm definitely going to be a referral partner. And I've received referrals if someone wasn't interested in something I'm offering, but I've gotten referrals for NowSite of somebody reaching out and said, "Hey, this girl told me about a great marketing tool and just brought people for me." So it's not just about what's in it for me, it's helping others and remembering that person when something comes up. And, you know, it's been a great way for me to meet people as well and keep a nice connection. I just wanted to
Uh,
say.
Absolutely, 100% right. Uh, this person might not be the one, but they might open the door to 10 other people that are the ones, right? So that's the interest. These people might not do this, but at one point they might say, "Hey, you know what? I had this great relationship or conversation with this person. I still have their contact. Maybe you should talk to them," right? And this is also the power of networking group for professionals. We want to be friends so that we can share. I don't do this. He does this. I have a contact. Take a look at it. I come recommended, right? We love that. Hey, I came recommended. Who recommended you? Right? So it's important. Again, treats your customers like you would want to be treated, not like an opportunity, but a person with value. And on these values, you build the bond and you consolidate the relationship by already preparing, right? If you tell somebody, meet me every day, meet me over there every day, meet me over there every day, and and you're saying, well, we have a great relationship every day, every time we meet, and somebody will tell you, well, okay, well, can I come to see you? And no, 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 no. Right? Well, why are you not? Reciprocity, right? Let's always think about that. It's a golden rule, I think, for growing your business. Making money, okay, you can focus on the close. I want to do the max amount. I want to go door to door, as hit as many doors as I can and see what the day brings me. And tomorrow do the same thing because this is where I'm making my business. No, it doesn't stop that. It doesn't stop there. Every day I want to make a connection, a lasting connection. So every day I wake up with one more connection. Remember last time I said, well, let's find our rhythm. Send 4 messages today. Send 4 messages tomorrow. Because you don't have to write a lot. You want to make that connection. And after a while, the wave will come back slowly, right? So don't force it. Find your rhythm and engage properly. I'll see what happens with the freelancer. I'll keep you posted. Then hopefully we'll have more shares, more subject of conversations around what is happening here. Good? Perfect. Take a look at the new course library. Again, for those that are new, great way to start. For those that are more experienced looking to build team content or strategy, uh, look at what I've done, give me feedback if there are flaws, if there are a beneficial approach from it. Go ahead. I found myself speaking more than I should when I said that I was going to do these videos because now I'm looking at the work and a lesson needs to be more in depth and step by step. Right now, you guys can all go to those documents. As long as you've been in this space often enough, you'll be able to follow the mechanics, right? But if you're not there, the understanding of the process might slip through. And this is where the complementary videos will come in, and they're not going to be, well, if I had to do it and go full through it, could be a few hours each one of those. So I have to provide a certain format. I'm finding my way. Soon as it's available, I'll make it available. Well, as soon as it's done, I'll make it available, and you'll let me know if there's any value from it. And definitely keep coming so that I can keep being challenged with things to come up for you. Right? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for all the positive energy, guys. Goes a long way. And
Great.
yes, I see that some of you are downloading my document. Shout out to Keisha. And if you are, let me know if there are flaws, if the information is consistent. Since I'm building this, I want your feedback so that if it's not connecting with you, I need to address it properly. Okay, perfect. Have a great rest of the week to you all.
Thanks, Virgil.
You're welcome.